war in Ukraine, disastrous Russian offensive at Vuhledar. I'm gonna call it Vuhledar because in Russian it means gift of coal. This town is in Donetsk region of Ukraine, which is famous for its coal mines. And this is a meat grinder, which I actually used in the past when I lived in Russia. There is a handle over there which you're turning, and that's how you're grinding meat. And we're not gonna talk about cooking today. We're gonna talk about literally meat grinding operations and disastrous deaths of Russian people and at Vuhledar in Ukraine. For the aggressive war, Russian President Putin fighting in there. I am Elena, creator of this channel, Enough of Propaganda. This is a political channel. And I'm an expert on the war in Ukraine, which was researching it for all the years it was going on since 2014. And even before, I was researching the situation in Ukraine since 2013, 2012. So one of the few people in internet who actually know what I'm talking about, and not just researching the recent events, like since 2022 when the full-scale invasion started, but I really know what was happening before and why it was happening. And this is, I'm welcoming you to my channel. Let's look at what's happening. This is TV channel Rain. They have a good footage, that's why I'm gonna show it to you a little bit.
Это больше половины танкового батальона. Патриотические военкоры видят причину поражения под Угледаром в тактических ошибках генералов российской армии. Точно так же, как прошлой осенью в отступлении из Харьковской области они винили конкретных военачальников, но не высшее руководство Минобороны страны.
TV Rain is saying that many Russians just blame for the disastrous loss of lives and failure under Vuhledar. They blaming some military commanders or this and that, but the reasons are way deeper, and I can say. So this is the result of the disastrous attacks under Vuhledar. It's not the only place where Russian counteroffensive already started. According to several military experts, including Ruslan Leviev, for instance, that special counteroffensive everybody's so afraid of, it's already started since like end of January 26 maybe. It's going on in different places on the front. And in this video, I'll talk about it a little later, like in the very end. I'll told you in general what's happening on the front. I'm not a military expert, but I do research, and I did research it for years, so I now know who are real military experts on the matter. And I compare what all of them saying. And this is, in this video, it's not mostly my opinion, it's information I get from actual real military experts. And from different countries. American generals, Russian independent groups, and Ukrainians. So this is kind of comparison from all the reliable sources, I would say. So let's look at the footage a little bit more. Basically, Russians lined up on the roads. Why? It's because there are minefields around. This footage is from Twitter. And as I said, there are minefields around. And that's why they line up on the road like a perfect targets. And here I would show you just a little bit of this video when they trying to, when somebody get blown up on the mine, they trying to go around and everybody keep get blowing on the mines around the tanks. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to run around and more tanks get blown up all around this place. And the reason is Russian army losing the war. Whatever they're doing in that city, Vuhledar, and in many other cities, it's just plain stupidity. They get an order to attack no matter what. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. This is just one battle. I'm not saying that Russia lost all the offensive. No, it's not. Because they're gonna keep doing it, and as they did it before in the past, I'll show you in the end of the video later on the map. There is a small town near Vuhledar, which they did in the past before. Russian army was trying to take the town of Vuhledar, which right now probably 500 citizens may be left in it, including one child, what I had information about. So they were trying to take it since the day of the full-scale invasion started in 2022. They couldn't take it. One little town south of Vuhledar, Pavlovka, they was trying to take. Eventually they did it, but it cost tremendous amount of human lives and a huge amount of military equipment. Like in Vuhledar, like right now, I know according to several sources, include the Foreign Research Institute and stuff like that, about 15 tanks, and about total military equipment, BMP, about 12 of them or so, so total together about 31 pieces in one day. That's what Russia lost. According also to several sources, in the last, one of the sources even New York Times, in the last 3 days, Russia was losing 1,100 men a day. Many of them, like, I am Russian citizen as well as Canadian, so they are from the same country I am from originally. They sent by Putin into that useless, senseless war, and they dying in the fields of Vuhledar by masses. This is just practically World War I scenario. Like foot soldiers running around with the guns. I'll give the links, you can watch it yourself on Twitter. So foot soldiers, like in World War I, running around with the guns in the empty fields. The area near Vuhledar, it's kind of like this. It's empty fields, wide open, with a slight part of trees which was planted to preserve the snow on the fields, like it's deliberately planted. That's about it. And soldiers dying there by masses. This piece, it's a Russian person recorded, and he complaining about he is the tank, he is the turret, he is the bodies. That's how we live. However, if you listen to our TV, everything is great and we are the best. So this is what he's saying.
А это наша техника разбита. Идем на дачу Vuhledara.
It's our broken equipment, blown up. We are walking near Vuhledar. We're going to take Vuhledar.
Все распиздячено от посадки. Вы
Swear
поняли,
words.
что он?
This is the turret of the tank blown away. And this is how it looks like, he's saying.
А по телеку у нас, как всегда, все хорошо.
In our TV, everything is great, everything is wonderful.
Мы лучшие.
We are the best.
Все, мы любим вас.
We love you. So this is different sources. This is another footage. And the people running away. And more. When the several machinery pieces get blown up, the people like in panic running around, don't know what they're doing, back and forth. There is no command, there is no planning in any of this. It's just a disaster. You're welcome to watch the video, the whole footage. I'm just showing you where it is and just the little pieces. So, and a little bit about situation in general. I already showed you that Czech father, he has lots of interesting information. And this is the map of the area. He was saying that on 12th of February, which is today, as you can see it over here, local Ukrainian forces counterattacked and dislodged Russian units who was advancing west of Vuhledar. And And on 12th February, Ukrainian forces reported to be in contact south of the urban area. This is the city of Pavlovka I was talking to you about. They was trying to take it again and again and again, and finally, after terrible losses, 1,000 people, they finally got it at some point in time. And right now the fighting is going here again. Neither Vuhledar nor Pavlovka mean much. And the way Russian army is attacking, it's just waves of military equipment, and most of the time just people with machine guns running in empty fields towards Ukrainians. And according to Ukrainians and some other sources, they just shooting like in a shooting gallery. They just wide open. They have nothing to hide. And the commanders keep telling them, take it. That is why Soviet Union lost 27 million people, Soviet people, in the World War II. That is why it was such a horrible losses in World War I. It's just because somebody's decision to attack some place, no matter how unimportant it is, bringing people just going and doing it. And they're going and doing it not because they want to, it's because there are people with the guns behind them. Like it was in Bakhmut, Soledar, and so on. This is some reason in Russian, but this is Soledar, and this is Bakhmut. Soledar eventually, like I have several videos on Soledar, eventually it was captured by Russians. Just because like a zombies. If you saw the movies about zombies, that's exactly how it's happening. The whole wave of them going and going and going. They're just throwing people's lives right into the battle with the machine guns of Prigozhin Wagner group behind them. The first line going on is the prisoners who Prigozhin took from Russian jails, murderers who was in jail for several years for the murder, multiple murders sometimes. So he basically grabbed them, took them in the army because nobody cared about the lives of these people. They could be thrown like in a meat grinder. And they just like a wave, like a sea wave going towards. Yet Ukraine hold the city, which is have no military significance. That is what's happening. I saw it in USSR. I lived in USSR. When political decision, because somebody thinking it's a good idea, or because it's in, like I am from Volgograd, the city on the Volga River, which I was talking in my previous videos, it used to call Stalingrad. It was named after Stalin. It was big city on the Volga River. That is why it couldn't fall into Germans' hands during World War II. That's why it was such a big battle which changed the whole war. And fascist German army was stopped there because of tremendous loss of human lives. And 2 million people on both sides died in the Battle of Stalingrad. This is how Soviet Union was fighting. This is how Russia is fighting. Because of those prisoners, nobody cared about them. They could just throw them. And right behind them, they're throwing people from those so-called Donetsk, Lugansk republics because nobody cared about them too. And Russian newly mobilized people who nobody trained, nobody did anything. They don't even have weapons. That's why so many videos on the internet complaining about it. So eventually, the Russian army took Soledar. Let's see how it was happening in time. It was a little bit changes you can see on the map. And this is from yesterday. Bakhmut is still in the hands of Ukrainians. They might have to leave it, since again, it's neither Soledar nor Bakhmut, as I told you before, has no military significance. It's just the political ideas of Prigozhin or Putin that it's a good idea to show at least some sort of a victory. That's why so many Russian soldiers right now dying there like in a meat grinder. For no reason whatsoever, at all. They shouldn't be in Ukraine in the first place. Russia attacked Ukraine. But I mean, if to talk about military, tactics and strategy and so on, none of this make any sense. For Ukrainians, makes sense to defend them only when Russia losing several times more, like 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, just to get rid of the Russian military forces. That's about it. I switched to the English-speaking map, map in English. So this is Bakhmut, and this is Vuhledar. So this is how far Russians get. It's very little. It will take years, literally 3 years at least, to get to any, like to Slavyansk, for instance. With the speed Russia is moving, that's what would it take. So this is from 6th of February. Let's see what's happening around Vuhledar, which is right here. And this is from the latest. So basically very little is happening, and this is disaster. Even Russia lost badly near Vuhledar, still they gained somewhat in Vuhledar and Bakhmut, and they will keep continuing throwing Russian lives into that useless war. They would keep continuing to go the columns and columns of the military equipment, as you saw. Like, they don't learn anything. They just keep doing the same thing over and over. That's a stupidity. I even heard there is a saying that this is insanity to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results. So Putin is lost. He lost the war. Neither of that offensive gonna help him. I'll tell you about it more in a different video, but in general, right now I want to warn you that all the Russian trolls, all Russian agents of Putin, they would be very much activated. Putin will pull all the strings right now. So every politician who is corrupted or ignorant or useful idiot and pro-Putin, they're gonna be right now activated and do a lot of damage to your countries, because Putin is trying to win the time. He's thinking that the other countries will stop supporting Ukraine. That's not gonna happen. But Putin is hope for it, and that is why he's doing what he's doing. But right now, keep watching the politicians. Keep watching what's happening in your country, and remember people who right now would say, oh, we should stop the war. We should stop doing this. We should stop helping Ukraine. Because these people are working for Putin. Voluntarily, willingly, or just because they're not smart enough or not educated enough. I have the whole channel which is explaining how that war started, why it is not anybody's fault but Russia and Putin. Proving it. So you're welcome to educate yourself. And right now I want to show you a few interesting things. This is a Ukrainian soldier in Vuhledar.
Як обіцяв відео, хочу вам подякувати за наушнички і взагалі за все, що ви робите.
So together to the victory. This is what Ukrainians are saying. They are grateful for the help. And this is what happening near Russian Consulate in Edinburgh. When somebody painted the car in Ukrainian colors and they playing music and they parked right near embassy, Russian embassy, and saying that they're terrorist state who was just bombed Lviv and injured 14-year-old girl. And this is what these people are doing.
How proud they must be of themselves. You'll notice they've just switched the lights off because they are rats who hide in the dark. So we will be here, we will continue to be here 24/7 until this office is shut. Terrorists have no right to be in Edinburgh.
I agree. Bravo, Edinburgh. Bravo, Scotland. And that's what I would have done if I would have lived close to Ottawa, which I live on completely other side of Canada, unfortunately. But what I did in the first days of the full-scale invasion, the very first day I talked to my member of parliament, and I demanded sanctions be put on Putin, his oligarchs, his members of his family, and so is everybody associated with Putin. So their accounts would be not just seized, but arrested and taken away from them and used to help Ukraine. Also, I demanded several other things, include closing Russia Today, Russian propagandist tool in my country, Canada. And one of the demands was closing Russian embassy and send them packing. Go home. But Next day, I wrote to Canadian Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, myself. I wrote to him with the same demands, and exactly the same day, most of what I demanded was happened, except for the closing Russian embassy. So, but the day will come. Well, bravo, Edinburgh, and glory to Ukraine. Thank you for watching. See you later.